Have you ever noticed that your emotions can rise like a wave before you even understand what triggered them? Have you ever wondered why the same words from someone can feel harmless one day and unbearable the next? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are stepping into something that looks small on the outside, but can become a lifelong anchor on the inside. 2 mantras for stronger emotional balance. Not as superstition, not as a magic spell, not as a shortcut that replaces real effort, but as a practical way to train attention, soften reactivity, and rebuild steadiness when life pulls you in 10 directions at once. The first main idea is that emotional balance is not the absence of feelings. It is the ability to stay present while feelings move through you without hijacking your speech, your actions, or your relationships. The second main idea is that sound and repetition can shape the mind the same way water shapes stone. If you repeat chaos, your nervous system learns chaos. If you repeat steadiness, your nervous system learns steadiness. Let me start with a moment that many people recognize, especially in families, schools, and busy homes. A parent is trying to do everything: work, meals, chores, messages, schedules, a child who needs attention, and a mind that never stops calculating what could go wrong. The parent is not unkind. They are simply overloaded. Then something tiny happens. A spilled drink, a late reply, a forgotten homework sheet, a toy on the floor, and suddenly the parent snaps. The voice rises, the face tightens, the room changes temperature, the child freezes or cries. Then the parent feels guilt. Why did I do that? I love them. Why did I react like that? If you have ever been the parent, or the child, or simply the human being in the room, you know that these moments are not really about the spilled drink. They are about the invisible pressure that has been building for hours or months. They are about a nervous system running on survival mode. They are about a mind that has lost its inner seat and is being pulled around by stress. So when we talk about mantras for emotional balance, we are talking about something very grounded. We are talking about a way to interrupt the chain reaction before it becomes harm. We are talking about a way to return to the center of the body, the steadiness of breath, and the clarity of awareness. In many Indian traditions, including Vedanta and devotional practices, mantra is described as a tool for the mind. A mind is like a restless animal. If you let it wander, it will sniff out fear, chase craving, and bite your peace. If you train it with gentleness and consistency, it becomes your companion rather than your enemy. In Buddhist language, the same principle appears in another shape. The mind is the source of suffering and the source of liberation. When the mind isn't reined, it runs toward grasping and away from discomfort. When the mind is trained, it can hold discomfort with patience and respond with compassion. Whether you call it mantra or mindfulness, the goal is similar. You stop being dragged by the first impulse, and you start living from wisdom. Now let us talk about why sound matters so much. Your day is full of sounds and words that program you. Notifications, criticism, self-talk, doom scrolling, gossip, comparison. Your brain hears patterns and starts preparing for danger. Even if you are physically safe, your body may not feel safe. That is why you can be sitting quietly and still feel tense. Mantra uses sound in the opposite direction. It gives the mind a steady rhythm. It gives the nervous system a predictable anchor. It gives the heart a phrase that carries meaning beyond the daily drama. And because it is repeated, it becomes like a handrail in a dark hallway. When you lose your balance, you reach for it. Some people assume mantras are only religious, but even if you remove every religious label, you can still understand the mechanism. Repetition shapes attention. Attention shapes emotion. Emotion shapes behavior. Behavior shapes karma, meaning the causes you plant and the results you later live inside. So these 2 mantras are not about showing off spirituality. They are about building better causes. Now I want to tell this as a story, because stories make practice feel real. Imagine a mother named Mira. She is doing her best. She loves her child deeply. But lately she has been tired in a way sleep does not fix. The world feels loud. Work is uncertain. Family expectations are heavy. She tries to be patient, but her patience is thin like a glass stretched too far. One evening her child refuses to do something simple. Mira asks calmly. The child says no. Mira asks again. The child laughs and runs away. It is playful, but Mira hears it through stress. She hears disrespect. She hears chaos. She hears failure. Her chest tightens, and she feels anger rising like fire. Now here is the old pattern. She chases. She yells. She says something sharp. The child cries. Mira feels awful. But this time, something different happened. Mira remembers a small practice she started a week ago. She made a promise to herself that when she feels the heat rising, she will not speak for 3 breaths. Instead, she will repeat a mantra quietly inside. She stalks. She does not chase the child immediately. She stays where she is for 1 second. She feels the heat. Then she repeats the first mantra slowly in her mind. The sound is gentle, and the meaning reminds her of protection and courage. She takes 1 breath. Then she repeats again. 2nd breath. Then again. 3rd breath. The anger does not vanish instantly, but it changes shape. It becomes less explosive. It becomes workable. Then she walks to her child. Her voice is calmer. She sets a boundary without cruelty. The child still resists, but the room does not become a battlefield. The night does not become a wound. That is emotional balance. Not perfection, but fewer fires. Now, what are the 2 mantras we are focusing on in this video? Many traditions use countless mantras, but the idea here is not quantity. The idea is depth. 2 anchors that you repeat until they become part of your nervous system. The first is a protective mantra, often connected in popular practice to Rama Raksha, which is traditionally associated with protection, steadiness, and inner courage. You may hear people use a short form such as repeating the name Rama with devotion. Whether you interpret it spiritually or psychologically, the repetition serves as a stabilizer. It pulls attention away from catastrophic thinking and back into a single steady point. It reminds the heart that it can endure. It creates a sense of being held, which reduces panic. The second is a calming mantra, often used to settle agitation, bring clarity, and cool emotional heat. Many people choose a simple repetition like calm or a phrase associated with peace, such as Shanti. The specific syllables matter less than the way you repeat them. Slowly, with sincerity, with a softened face, with a willingness to return again and again, without judging yourself for being human. Now I want to pause and emphasize something important. A mantra is not meant to suppress emotions. Suppression is when you shove feelings down and pretend they are not there. That creates tension and later explosions. Mantra is meant to hold emotions, the way a calm adult holds a crying child. You do not scream at the child to stop. You do not abandon the child. You stay present. You breathe. You speak gently. And you let the storm pass. So when anger comes, you do not deny it. You notice it. You repeat the mantra. You give your body time to settle. Then you choose your words. When anxiety comes, you do not shame yourself. You notice it. You repeat the mantra. You lengthen the exhale. You let the nervous system downshift. Then you take the next wise step. This is practice. Now let us go deeper into why this works so well, especially for emotional balance. Emotions are not just thoughts. They are body events. When you feel threatened, your body prepares for action. Heart races, muscles tighten, breath shorten, attention narrows. This is ancient survival biology. But in modern life, threats are often social and psychological. I comment, a deadline, a fear of judgment, a feeling of being behind. The body reacts anyway. Mantra changes the input. It slows the breath naturally. It creates rhythm. It reduces mental noise. It gives the mind something simple, which reduces overload. Over time, the brain associates the mantra with safety and steadiness. Then when stress hits, the mantra becomes a conditioned pathway back to calm. In Buddhist terms, you are cultivating a wholesome habit. You are planting seeds of steadiness. In karmic terms, you are creating causes for less harm. Now I want to show you how this looks across a day, in a way that feels realistic. You wake up and your mind immediately starts planning. If you are a student, you think about assignments, social situation, and performance. If you are a parent, you think about logistics, money, and responsibilities. If you are anyone, you may feel a background unease. Before you touch your phone, you repeat one mantra for 1 minute, not to force a mood, but to set a direction. You let the sound be your first conversation with the day. This small act is like choosing the flavor of your mind before the world chooses it for you. Midday, something irritating happens. You feel the rise. Instead of reacting, you repeat the mantra 3 times, quietly, internally, while exhaling. This takes maybe 10 seconds, but those 10 seconds can save you from saying the sentence you will regret. Afternoon, you feel drained. The mind wants to scroll, snack, or escape. You can still rest, but you can rest consciously. You repeat the calming mantra slowly. Then take a short walk or drink water or stretch. You give the body what it actually needs, not what the craving is trying to grab. Evening, you are with family or friends. Emotions are more likely to spill because you are tired. You decide that whenever you feel yourself getting sharp, you will repeat the protective mantra before speaking. This turns the mantra into compassion, because it prevents you from dumping your stress on the people you love. Night, before sleep, you repeat the calming mantra gently until the breath becomes slow. You let the day dissolve. You do not replay every mistake. You do not punish yourself. You offer the mind a soft landing. This is how a mantra becomes a daily companion rather than a temporary trick. Now let us talk about the deeper spiritual meaning. Because even if you use mantras for stress relief, the practice can open a bigger door. Many people discover that the real problem is not the outer situation. The real problem is the sense of a tight self that must control everything to feel safe. The tight self that needs approval. The tight self that fears being wrong. The tight self that wants to win. The tight self that feels alone. Mantra loosens this tightness because it reminds you of something larger than the daily ego drama. In devotional language, it reminds you of the sacred. In philosophical language, it reminds you of a deeper ground of being. In Buddhist language, it helps you step out of self-centered grasping and into awareness. When the self loosens, compassion becomes easier. You stop taking everything personally. You stop seeing every inconvenience as an insult. You stop treating others like threats. You become more spacious. That spaciousness is emotional balance. Now let me tell you another story, this time from the perspective of someone younger. Because emotional balance is not only an adult struggle. 18 named Jay feels intense pressure. Grades, friend, identity, the constant fear of being judged. Jay gets a message from someone that feels cold. Immediately the mind creates a story. They hate me. I am embarrassing. I am not wanted. Jay feels panic and anger mixed together. The old pattern is to reply instantly with a sharp message, or to spiral for hours, or to post something passive-aggressive, or to shut down completely. But Jay learns a simple practice from a teacher or a video. When the mind starts racing, repeat a short calming mantra while breathing slowly. Jay tries it. Jay sits on the bed, puts the phone down, and repeats the mantra quietly for 1 minute. At first it feels silly. Thoughts keep coming, but then something shifts. The breath slows. The body softens. The story loses some power. Jay picks up the phone and chooses not to send the angry reply. Jay waits. Later, J responds with a calm question instead of an accusation, and the outcome changes. Not because the world became perfect, but because the mind became steadier. That is the core of this teaching. Mantra gives you back the steering wheel. Now we should talk about the word powerful, because power can be misunderstood. The power of mantra is not that it forces reality to obey you. The power is that it changes you so you stop fighting reality in ways that create extra suffering. When nothing goes your way, the mind wants to collapse or attack. Mantra gives you a third option. Stay present. Stay kind. Choose wisely. This is not weak. This is strength. In the language of compassion, it is the strength to protect others from your unprocessed pain. In the language of wisdom, it is the strength to see clearly before acting. In the language of karma, it is the strength to plant better causes. Now I want to go even deeper into what happens when you repeat a mantra consistently for weeks or months. You start noticing the early signs of emotional storms. The first tightening in the chest, the first clenching in the jaw, the first impatient tone, the first urge to prove yourself. Because the mind is quieter, you can detect the shift earlier. Earlier detection gives you more choice. More choice gives you more freedom. More freedom gives you more dignity. And dignity is a form of peace. This is why simple practices can create huge life changes. Most harm is not created by one big evil moment. Most harm is created by many small moments of unawareness. Mantra repairs those small moments. Now I want to connect this to the idea of compassion in action. Because emotional balance is not only about feeling calm, it is also about how you treat people. When you are balanced, you can listen better. You can apologize faster. You can admit mistakes without collapsing. You can set boundaries without becoming cruel. You can support others without drowning. This is why many spiritual traditions treat inner practice and ethical life as inseparable. If you train the mind but do not train the heart, you'll become cold. If you train the heart but do not train the mind, you may burn out. Mantra can train both, because it steadies attention and reminds you of meaning. Now let us talk about one more crucial point, because many people struggle with consistency. They try a mantra once when they are calm and think nothing happened. Or they try it once in a crisis and think it did not work. Then they quit. But mantra is like building muscle. One push-up does not change your body, but daily training changes your strength. Sound repetition changes the mind through accumulation. So if you want emotional balance, the most important thing is to make the practice small enough that you can actually do it. Not an hour. Not a perfect ritual. Maybe just 1 minute in the morning. 3 breaths when triggered. 1 minute before sleep. That is enough to begin. And if you forget, you do not shame yourself. You return. Returning is the practice. In Buddhist language, returning is mindfulness. In life language, returning is maturity. Now I want to close with a reflection that is meant to land in the heart. Emotional balance is not about becoming a robot. It is about becoming someone safe to be around, including being safe to yourself. When you have emotional balance, you do not abandon your feelings, and you do not dump them on others. You hold them with awareness. You let them teach you. You let them pass. You choose your actions from wisdom. 2 simple mantras can become 2 doors. One door leads to protection, courage, and steadiness when you feel shaken. The other door leads to calm, clarity, and softness when you feel overheated. And behind both doors is the same deeper truth. You are not your emotional weather. You are the awareness that can witness it. And the more you practice, the more that awareness becomes your home. Thank you for being here with me today. If you want, share in the comments what situations trigger your strongest emotional storms and what helps you come back to center. Share whether you have ever used mantra, prayer, or simple repetition to calm down quickly. And if you want more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment to support this space and keep the teachings flowing. I will see you in the next one.